How's this laptop only $2,700 with this amount of hardware built in? What is the catch? Well, today I will let you guys know everything with my review of the Maingear Vector Pro laptop featuring AMD's best mobile processor, the 5900X, and RTX 3080 with 64 gigabytes of RAM and 2 terabytes of SSD, all for $2,700. I'll be talking about the positives as well as some limitations and give you guys a few tips on how to make the most out of this laptop. Now with that, I'll be comparing it to the Razer Blade because that is the other laptop that we've been testing with an RTX 3080 and showing you guys the benefits of both. Now that one is a lot more expensive. It's $3,400 and it comes with half of the SSD and half the RAM along with a limited RTX 3080. So you guys will see the performance compared with both of these systems. Now, before I jump in, I want to thank Micro Center and AMD for sending us this laptop to make this review. Micro Center has 25 stores nationwide with an impressive variety of electronics from gaming, VR, computer parts like processors, graphics, and everything else needed to build a PC. They also have a huge variety of desktops, laptops, and all the accessories that you need. Not only that, but highly trained staff and low prices. Check out a local Micro Center today to get your hands on a wide variety of products before purchasing, or use the link down below to check out the Vector Pro at microcenter.com. They're also giving away a free 240 gigabyte SSD to new customers, so go ahead and get all the info using the link down in the video description. Getting started with hardware, on the left-hand side, we have a microphone and a headphone input along with a USB port, and then on the right-hand side, we have two more USB Type A's. We have a micro SD card reader, and on the back, we have a barrel plug for the charger. We have an HDMI port and an Ethernet port. It's pretty rare to see Ethernet built in, but it is really nice to have along with HDMI, and I actually do like that it's on the back because you can keep it out of the way when you're using the laptop, and you will need to keep this laptop plugged in, which I'll talk about in just a bit. Now, as far as the setup up here, the keyboard is surprisingly good. At first, it just felt a little bit weird to me, but when I got used to it, I was typing fast and accurate, and the trackpad, that is about average. It is a diving board design, and I ended up using it with just the tapping method, and with that, it was pretty responsive. And with that, the build quality is surprisingly good as well. This is really lightweight. They designed it to be light, and at 17 inches, it is only 5 pounds, making it only 0.2 pounds heavier than a 16-inch MacBook Pro. And onto the screen, I was really happy to see Windows Hello built in. I love being able to log in quickly without having to use my fingerprint or typing in a password. Now, below that, we have this 17-inch screen. It is a matte display, so there's really no issues with reflectivity as with the Razer, and it's also that same 400 nits, but without that glossy cover. Now, it's not a 4K display, it's a 1440p display, which does save some battery life. I'll talk about that in just a bit. And it is also 165 hertz, so it's super smooth, great for gaming. And one thing that I was really kind of worried about was the color accuracy of the display, but it is a 100% sRGB panel, so if you're doing photo or video editing, you can trust looking at this display. So overall, I'm surprised that I would actually take this screen, although I do like the 4K resolution, just because it's a much more usable display. You don't have to worry about the color accuracy shifting when you adjust brightness. And as far as the webcam and microphones, well, you guys can hear and see it for yourselves. The webcam is not great. It's not the worst I've seen though, but the microphones are pretty bad. So I would suggest using a different microphone if you're going to be Zoom conferencing. The same thing goes for the speakers. They're decently loud, but the sound quality just is not great. At least if we're comparing it to MacBooks or even the Razer. That thing lacks bass, but it does still sound better. Of course, with that, it's just showing us that this machine here is designed to do two things. One, be very powerful, and two, pretty much meet a low price point, especially for that performance. So with that, let's jump into performance. One thing I want to mention is that there is no no Thunderbolt port on this AMD system, but as far as performance, I was surprised that our 200GB transfer actually finished faster than with the Razer. The Razer ended up throttling the SLC cache right now on the SSD, and it took longer even though I had a Thunderbolt connection compared to just USB Type-C. And those SSDs are really fast in that RAID 0 mode, and they are fully upgradable. They're M.2 SSDs, as is the RAM, so if you want to upgrade in the future, you can do so. Now for simple tasks and web browsing, this machine flies through it. That 5900HX is super quick, so no issues there. But if you go ahead and unplug it and use it as a laptop, I saw a dip of about 25% in order to save battery life. Now that does suck to lower up the performance, but compared to that Razer, it was actually much faster and had less performance drop. Full CPU performance is also very good, close to our M1 Max and an i9, while using less power than the i9. And with that, I want to mention the fans. This cooling system works very well, but it is also very loud, especially out of the box. So we had no thermal throttling. We ran at full 60 watts the whole time. No frequency drops, and the system stayed cool as well, but it was loud. Now, I did a bunch of testing and I found that the stock fan curves, they're just excessive. You know, you're just running way too loud. So I adjusted to max out at 60% on the fan speeds, and I still got basically the same performance for the CPU and even when exporting 8K video. So that impressed me. So if you're gonna buy one of these, go and adjust your fan curves for yourself to lower the fan noise dramatically. Now, as far as the gaming performance, we have that RTX 3080 just like in the Razer, but this one, you can actually unlock it to 165 watts. I believe out of the box is at 140 compared to the Razer, which is like 105 or so. And with this cooling system, it can actually power it. And thanks to that, if you are gaming, which is a great gaming laptop, you get noticeably better frame rate compared to that Razer. Now, if you unplug this laptop, those frame rates drop dramatically and you're limited to basically 30 FPS. Now, you can go in and disable NVIDIA battery boost. That will give you up to 60, but that is all that you can do in order to save battery life with this system. So that just shows us that this is more of a mobile workstation, kind of mobile desktop that's lightweight and all-in-one, because in those times when you want full performance, you have to plug it in. Now, on the flip side, it actually gets about 6.5 to 7 hours of regular web use compared to about 4 with that Razer. So that definitely does help. And of course, the Razer also throttles down if you unplug it. Now for productivity, when we exported 50 images, it was slightly slower than the Razer laptop with the i9. So as far as CPU performance, it does seem to be slightly slower than that. Of course, you have the cost benefit, but when we go to something like super resolution, which uses the graphics, we saw a significant improvement thanks to the unlocked 165 watts for the 3080. I saw a similar thing for video editing. When we exported 8K video, it was slightly slower than the Razer, and that is due to the CPU kind of limiting the 3080. Not a significant chunk, but it's noticeable. But then when we go to other tasks that are more graphics based, for example, 6K Blackmagic Raw, it is faster than the Razer, and the same thing goes for other tasks like denoising video in DaVinci Resolve. We do see a noticeable frame rate increase in that, so you are getting better graphics performance. So overall, there is a lot of power packed into this machine. The CPU on battery is faster than the Intel variant. When it's plugged in, it is slightly slower, and the graphics is also faster as well, noticeably faster. With that, you get better battery life, and of course, you get double the SSDs, double the RAM in this machine for a much lower price point. And the one thing that I thought would be the biggest limitation, the display, I actually prefer over the Razer. Of course, webcam isn't great, the speakers aren't great. So it really depends on what you're looking for. If you're in this price range, I don't know of any other laptop that gives you better performance for the money. So if you care about performance, you want a game with a 165Hz screen, you want to do some video editing, photo editing, it packs a lot of bang for the buck, especially if you need Windows and you use programs that are only Windows based. So there you guys go. Let me know your thoughts on the Vector Pro down in the comments section below. Check out one of those great videos right over there. Click above to subscribe if you guys want to help us reach our goal of 1 million subscribers. We would greatly appreciate it. This has been Max, and I'll catch you in the next video.